Hello and welcome, it is Connor here from Luxia Smart Homes, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to create this super simple battery notification that is fully customizable and achieved in 3 simple steps. This doesn't require any extra templates or sensors to be made, it's all done from the automation itself, so no need to go into the configuration.yaml. However, if you would like to just skip this video and copy and paste it straight into your own automation, then you can just use the code that is in the video description. But if you would like to learn how the automation works and how to customize it for yourself, then keep watching. So here we are in the automation, and as you can see, it is literally 3 simple steps. There is 1 trigger, 1 condition, and 1 action, okay? Super duper simple, and let's begin with the trigger. Now, I'm using a trigger of time, so I want this to happen at 10 o'clock, and it's going to trigger every single day at 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, you can use this trigger however you want, if you want to use time, if you want to use a particular day, whatever it might be, okay? But you can just set this to whatever you want it to be. I set it to be time because I want it to always remind me at 10 o'clock. However, I don't want it to go off at 10 o'clock every single day. So that's where our condition comes in. Because my condition is a value template. And this value template is saying if today's date is the 1st, so if it is the 1st day of the month, then fire the automation, okay? So when it is equal to 10 o'clock, it will check to see if it is the 1st day of the month. If it's not, then it's not going to do anything, but if it is, then it's going to come down to our action and fire the notification. So if it is 10 o'clock in the morning, and if it is the 1st day of the month, then it will run our notification service. And I'm using the notify.notify service, but if you just want to target a particular device, then you can just run that particular service instead. But for me, I'm just notifying all of the different devices connected to Home Assistant here. I'm not really after a specific device. Now, we're doing a bit of data templating here, so we are creating a template, but it's all within the automation itself. We're not creating any extra sensors in the YAML, in the configuration.yaml, because I would personally never reference that sensor anywhere else, and I think you should only create extra sensors if you're going to be using it as kind of reference data throughout your home automation setup. But in this particular instance, I would never ever use this sensor anywhere but this automation, so I've contained it all to the automation. It just makes things a lot easier and it's just less hassle. So what we're doing is we're creating a template and we're starting by setting the threshold. So our threshold here equals 10%. So any battery devices that are below 10% will be included in this notification. And next up we are setting the excluded devices, because although it's great to know when batteries are below 10%, you might not want to know when every battery is below 10%. Specifically mobile phones or tablets or smartwatches, devices like that, you don't really need to be notified about. So you can set them as an excluded device, so even if they are below 10%, you're not going to be notified about them, okay? So as you can see, I've got some example devices in here, and you can just replace these with the devices that you don't want to be included in this notification. Next up, we are selecting all of the sensors that have the device class of battery, and then we are filtering all of those sensors to the ones that are below our threshold, which in this case is 10%, and then we're also excluding the devices that we have told it to exclude. So now we'll be compiling a list of all of the batteries that are below 10%, and we'll be getting rid of the ones that we don't want to be included in the final notification. And finally, we count up all of those low battery devices, okay, so we can tell ourselves how many devices are below 10%, and then we also gather all of the device names, so we can specify the exact devices that are running low on batteries. So we say there are, and then the amount of low battery devices that are below 10%, and then we list the devices here using the template that we have built. So now we know that there may be 5 different battery devices that are below 10%, and it will then tell us the exact devices that are below that 10%, which is great because you can then go around and swap out the devices. You're not just getting a generic notification that gives you a number. It doesn't just say there are 5 battery devices below 10%. It gives you the exact device name, so you don't have to then go into Home Assistant and look for which devices it is. You know directly from the notification. Now, if everything is above 10% and you haven't got any low battery devices, then you'll just receive the message, all battery devices are above 10%, and the title of our notification is low battery alert. Now, that's it. Super simple, okay? 3 steps. We've got our time trigger at 10 o'clock. We've got our condition that checks if it is the first day of the month, and then if it is, we run our notify service, which is built from this template. Now, if you want to adjust this template, you will need to adjust the threshold here. So just change this 10 to whatever number it is that you want to be alerted. So maybe you want to be alerted at 20% instead. So you can just change this to 20 if you wanted to. And then on the excluded devices list, you can just change this to whatever you want. So any of the devices that you want to exclude. So if we get rid of this and say if we put in Connor's phone, okay, something like that. Whatever it is that you want to exclude, stick it in there. And then the other things that you can kind of play around with is the kind of wording of the message if you wanted to, and obviously the title as well, you can change that. But the rest of it will work perfectly for your home, just copy and pasted. In fact, this whole thing, copy and pasted, would just work straight away because it's not targeting specific devices except for the excluded devices. The kind of collection of devices and how many are below 10% is done dynamically, alright? So there's no real need to change anything except for the excluded devices. So there we have it, a really simple low battery notification that is all done from within the automation itself, no extra sensors or anything like that, and you can just copy and paste this directly from the video description into your own smart home and it will work perfectly fine. However, you will need to change the excluded devices to exclude the devices that you don't want to be notified about. But other than that, you can just leave everything exactly how it is and it will just work. Hopefully you've learned something new, hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any more video suggestions, any more automation suggestions, any ideas, anything that you want me to cover, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe and I will see you in the next video.